Hi everyone, today we are looking at the Dragonling colouring book by Jasmine Becket-Griffith. So this is her most recent colouring book, but it has been out for a little while. I'm just getting around to reviewing it now. And it is the same publisher as her previous book. So I think she's had the Jasmine Becket-Griffith colouring book, Halloween and Mermaids. I'm not sure if there was another one in there, but it's the same publisher, and it's also the same publisher as Christine Caron's Little Folk that I reviewed the other day. So you've got that textured cover. It has a removable dust cover like that, as you can see, and just line you up. You've got one of her original acrylic paintings on the inside as well, so you can take a little bit of inspiration from that. So Blue Angel is the publisher. We've got the title page, the copyright page, and then a little bit of an introduction from Jasmine. So Jasmine says, as a little girl, I've always wanted dinosaur friends. As my love of fantasy grew, I reckon dragons were basically magic dinosaurs and began painting them obsessively. I've shown the spirit of my imaginary friends in so many of my Dragonlings paintings. I hope these inspire you too. And then it's just about the dragons and stuff. And it really is, it's absolutely chock full. It's amazing when you think of how many illustrations for the colouring world that Jasmine has produced from her original acrylic paintings, but she has so many more acrylic paintings as well. Like, I don't know how in her lifetime she's created this many amazing portraits and paintings. But anyhow, so it is a one-sided book. You can see that we've got the illustration on this side and then the name of the illustration on the facing page. So this one's Baby Green Dragon. Now there is some very, very light grayscale in these images, which is super helpful for you because you know where to put your darks and your lights. Again, it's very similar in the format to the Little Folk book. So if you've seen that review, you'll know what I mean. It's an ivory paper. It does feel quite smooth. There is some tooth to it though, but I think, just as with Little Folk, if you put in, you know, layers and layers of coloured pencil down, you are going to find that they start to speckle. So if you're quite light-handed with your colouring, you should be fine. If you are more heavy-handed like myself, just don't do too many layers and you should be okay with this paper. So like I say, one-sided, you can use all your different media on it. I think these pages are especially good for markers because you've got the large open space of the face. So marker skin tone seems to be easier than coloured pencil skin tone sometimes. And these are just perfect for that because it's her wide-eyed, really large kind of moon face girls. That's her style. It doesn't appeal to everybody, this style, but an awful lot of people absolutely love her artwork. So it just depends where you fall on that, really, how you feel about Jasmine's faces. I will say that a lot of the faces are very similar. There's not a lot of variety in the expressions and faces and stuff like that. Let me just turn this round. So we do have a mixture of portrait orientation and landscape orientation. So this one's quite nice. It's got all of the fields and stuff in the background. Lots of detail on that one. But yeah, like I was saying, her faces don't vary that much. They often have very similar expressions. And I suppose you can take that as a good or a bad thing. I mean, if you wanted more variety, the books, in the faces I mean, the books might not be for you. But if you like having a lot of these shape faces so that you can practice, then this is great. I mean, this one is a bookmark page. It's called Mermaid with a Scarlet Dragon, and that's really sweet. So you can even cut this out if you wanted to. Make a little bookmark, laminate it. Peppermint Dragonling, so you can see the little peppermints everywhere. And the dragons are super cute. You can't deny that. They're absolutely gorgeous. Little sweet dragons. Violet Icing, this one's called. So lots of purples on this page, I should imagine. Here's another landscape orientated one. This is a good one. It's Witchy Sisters and the Jet. So I'm assuming this is the Jet Dragon. I don't really know too much about dragons and their variants, to be honest. Maybe some of you guys do. Dragonling Valentine, this is sweet. So you could colour this around the Valentine period. Maybe do a February buddy colour with somebody or what have you. But I think what kind of scared me about this book a little bit is dragons, I worry about how to colour them. You know, they're quite unusual. There are colouring books with dragons in, but it's not something standard that you see all the time. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, am I gonna be able to colour this realistically somewhat? You know, is it going to look okay? But the very light grayscale shading really helps with that. You can see hopefully that there are shadowed areas here that have been left in, so that you can more realistically colour them, I guess. You can get those shadows and the shapes in there, make them look a little bit three-dimensional, rounded, and keep the form. But yeah, so Easter Dragonling, this is cute. Again, you could colour this around Easter time, and it's got the bunny. We have got the little dragon in his egg, and then the nest of eggs here as well. This is a really good one. And then this is the one I've coloured. So I'm just going to move it up out of the glare a little bit. Now for this one, like I said, I was just a little bit nervous of colouring dragons. And I thought, you know what, actually, I know that there's an acrylic painting that goes with every single one of these illustrations of Jasmine's, because that's where she takes the illustrations from. She paints them first and then she converts them into line art. So that's the great thing about Jasmine's books, is that you can always use this title to give a little Google and find the original painting. And that's what I did with this one. So I Googled Emerald Guardian and this came up. This is her original acrylic painting. And I thought, do you know what, just because I'm a little bit unsure about how to colour dragons, let's go and try and emulate Jasmine's original acrylic painting with coloured pencil and see how much I can get it, or as close as I can get it to the original as possible, just to give me that little bit of a comfortable starting point, I guess. So I've tried my very best to colour this in pencil to try and emulate exactly the original acrylic painting. Now, the dragon I'm absolutely in love with. I think I did quite well on the colour matching and the shadow matching and stuff like that. The only thing I'm not too happy with is the skin tone. So when I first looked at the original acrylic painting by Jasmine, I thought the skin looked really grey. And I was like, how am I going to emulate this with coloured pencil? I'll have to do a mixture of skin tone with a kind of grey on top. And I thought it might be quite difficult. So I coloured it, and I coloured it, most of this with Prismacolor, some Derwent drawing, but mostly Prismacolor. And I tried my best to get that kind of skin tone, but greyish skin tone. So I used, what did I use? Eggshell, Prismacolor, Beige Sienna, and another one I can't remember, Ginger Root. And then I went over it with a layer of 10% French grey, so the lightest French grey, because I thought that would most, you know, match up with it. And then I looked back at Jasmine's picture, and it was a lot warmer than I thought it was, or at least it was a lot warmer than what I managed to create. So I think ideally, if I could put a warmer layer over this, it would probably be really close. But I don't want to mess about with it again. You can see the layers have started separating a little bit, started building up too much around the nose. But it's the best that I can do, and yeah, I am really pleased with it. It definitely pops off the page, and yeah, I'm pleased with what I managed to achieve. So this was the one that I was going to colour first, because as a big horror fan, and with The Silence of the Lambs being one of my favourite sort of horror thrillers, I really wanted to colour the Red Dragon. And I looked at the original Blake portrait of the Red Dragon, and I thought it doesn't look as colourful as I remember it being in the movies. And it was just quite washed out and quite greyish, and you know, I didn't fancy it in the end, and I didn't quite like the sort of pointiness of this girl's face either. So that's why I moved on and did that one. I'm just seeing that there's, oh yeah, so on the original painting, I think there is someone lying at the bottom, isn't there? I've just noticed these little feet. And we've got another horizontal one. So this is Ivy Dragonling. Again, she's in the forest, so you've got mushrooms and things to colour. And then we've got Jet Storm Dragon. So this will be really cool if you want to mess about with mixed media, trying to get those glowing flashes of lightning and the grey storm clouds and stuff. I'd be interested to see that one coloured. And as I say, there is a fully coloured original acrylic painting for every single picture that you can take some inspiration from. So that really helps. Valentine dragon, so we've got another Valentine one. It is different, they are all different to one another. Oh my god, I keep having to swizzle the book round. So we've got Waiting Out the Storm, so another stormy one. You can see the forks of lightning, and this dragon is more like an eel or a snake. And she's quite interesting, she does look quite unique. Then we've got the Shimmering Pink Dragon. So again, you can imagine lots of pink on this. It is quite similar to the one I've done in that the dragon's body is sort of winding around the top and the bottom of the image, and you've got the big scales to colour in, which is good because these are quite large. You can get a decent blend in there, but the scales don't have that little bit of grayscale around them, so you would have to try and figure out where you want your shadows to be. 12-sided dice fairy, so this one is good. Obviously I think it's Dungeons and Dragons, that's maybe why she's included some pages with dice in. I've never played that, I know about it, but I've never played it. But this will be interesting to see how people colour the dice and trying to, is it the die, it's single. Trying to see how you can make it look a little bit translucent, you know, as if it's a resin die, you know, so you can see like the other points very faintly through the glass look of it, if you know what I mean. Then we've got Blue Dragon. This one's got a bit heavier line work on this, but again, scales, these quite small and sporadic on this one, and she looks slightly mermaid-like, unless, you know, well, I mean, that's scales, isn't it? They're just different types of scales. Then we've got Darling Dragonling 5, so I guess there must be 1, 2, 3 and 4. So yeah, just all different types of dragons. There's a lot of different dragon styles in this, so you're not going to get bored colouring the same type of dragon. Dragonling Garden 2. So we have got tree branches. I almost thought it was lightning then, but they are tree branches. And this is a bit of a smaller scale person and dragon to colour. So this might be a good one to start off as a beginner if you're feeling a little bit nervous. You don't have too much skin or too much to do on the main feature of this one, but there is conversely more background, so it depends how comfortable you feel. Dragon Orchid. So we've got 1, 2, 3 dragons with some orchid flowers, and she's got really thick eyelashes. I think people, the main, not criticism that I hear, but the main opinion that I hear about Jasmine's work is that because the faces are so undefined, you know, you've got these huge eyes that are really far apart, and then you've just got a nose and the mouth outline. There's no that people wonder, how do you actually colour it and get the definition of the features in there? You know, how do we make this, the rest of this nose curve in, and the cheekbones and stuff? And people often don't know where to put the shadows and things like that. So I think that's the thing most people sort of are concerned about when colouring Jasmine's work, because they just don't know where to put things. This one's got a little bit more shadow to it, so that's helpful. And again, we've got loads of little scales to colour. Now, if you didn't want to colour each and every one of these in pencil like I did, and believe me, I never want to see a green pencil again, you could always use gel pen, get some glitter on there. Dragons are fantasy creatures. Who's to say they don't have glitter scales? You could use metallic paint, like something by KJ, designed by Karen. Her paints are so bright and metallic and opaque. You can use that's the good thing about this book. With it being fantasy, you can use whatever you like, and no one can say whether that's realistic or right or wrong. Then we've got Fruit Dragonling, so lots of different fruit to colour. That's quite varied and quite different to the rest of the book. So, I mean, what's this? It looks, I thought for a minute it was one of those machines where you twist the thing and something falls down. But what is it? Is it a goblet of some sort? You've got grapes. You have got whatever these are. Papaya. That's just what's coming to my head. But yeah, you've got quite a lot of different fruits to colour. And again, the person and the dragon is quite small relatively, so you don't have to do as much skin and that kind of thing on that one. Then we've got the Halloween Dragonling. So this one's really fun. It's got pumpkin with the jack-o'-lantern face. You've got the moon and the dark night background that you could put in there. And she's got her witchy tights. Then we have Pearl Dragon Princess. So this one definitely has a different look to the face. This one looks more human, less Jasmine character. And this one definitely has the old worldy sort of regal style about it. I'm thinking Henry VIII, the Tudors, that kind of period, Elizabethan. I don't know my history, so but it's giving old royalty, isn't it? And you know, the big shoulder pads and stuff. Then we've got 8-sided dice fairy. So again, we've got another dice page, and again, I would just love to see how people make this look see-through or translucent at least. Lots of shading on this one as well to help you. And another dice fairy. This one's a 20-sided dice. I'd love to know more about, you know, Dungeons and Dragons and what else is it that they play. Those kind of sprawling games that take ages and ages, and it can kind of go on as long as you want it to go on. And I'd love to know more about it. It sounds really interesting. I'd like to go to like maybe a night where they introduce you to the game and you figure it all out, because it does sound fun. Then we've got Dark Dragonling. So what's happening here? She's got a couple of dragons, look like they're feasting on something actually, and she's holding a globe, a ball, I don't know what it is, maybe a sea, it's kind of, what do they call them in Lord of the Rings, a palantir, you know, where you can see things through the glass. Crystal ball, I don't know, but there's storm clouds going on again, so more practice for those. Then we've got Darling Dragonling 1. So this one looks like, is this her hair or is it a hood? It looks a little bit more like a fur hood, so could this one be something to do with winter time? Could you colour it like that? I don't know. This dragon's interesting as well. Again, it's got more of a snake-like body. Then we've got Darling Dragonling 3. We've got a moth on this one, or a butterfly, and the so cute little dragon looking at it thinking, what is that? But again, you've got this huge expanse of face to colour. What I would recommend, if you have pan pastels, they're quite good. They do a skin tone set. They are expensive comparatively to normal soft pastels, but they do have a skin tone set, and you can use the tool, which is a bit like an eyeshadow brush, like a foam thing, that you can pastel the face, and that is so quick and so easy. I've done a tutorial with those pastels doing face and skin before, so if you want that link, just ask me and I'll give it to you, and you can see how you can achieve that. It's a lot quicker and easier than pencil. Then you've got Darling Dragonling 6. Can't really make out what's going on here. I think these are the wings, they're quite crackled. Yeah, I think that's it. I think she's just holding this dragon. He's got massive eyes. Sometimes you have to really sit with an illustration and look at it and try and figure out what's what. So she's holding him under his belly, but I don't know what, this must be her dress or something, I don't know. This one's a cool one. Again, we've got the dice, but we've got 2 girls on this one. So you have got that smaller space again to not do as much face and skin. And you've got a really tiny dragon, so this will help. The biggest things on this, I guess, are the stone wall blocks behind. I've got a couple of tutorials, I think, for stone or brick wall, so if you need help with that, you can just have a look at those tutorials. But this one would be a really nice one coloured. And then we've got Flower Dragonling. Lots and lots of florals, flora and fauna on this one, and it looks like she's got her own wings, her own dragon wings. Yeah, really nice one. Lots of different things to colour on that. Then the Golden Eye Dragonling, so you definitely will need a golden eye. Yeah, what can you say? It really is mostly close-ups of the girls and the dragons. That's the majority of the book. There is some variation, but Golden Guardian. So again, very similar to the one that I did with all the scales around the edge. And then this one is fairly simple, Green Dragonling. So is this cute, very, very simple dragon and very simple girl as well. There's just a large expanse of space, and I guess that Jasmine's put this variety in to give you a bit of variance on detail level. Maybe something that you just want to colour really quick and just get it over and done with, or something that you want to practice blends on and stuff. You can do that on these kind of pages. Conversely, you've got these really detailed pages with a very fine line work. So this is Ruby Moon, giant moon in the background. I did do a tutorial for a moon, and ridiculously, it doesn't look like the moon. The moon is something that we know what it looks like. We see it in the sky most nights. it never changes, you know, over periods of probably billions of years, it never changes. And yet when I did a tutorial of the moon, I decided to make my own craters and my own areas, and so it looks nothing like the moon that's in the sky. But anyway, I'm sure you could do a better job than me. I need to work on that, maybe do a second tutorial where I actually look at reference photos of the moon and take it from there. Then we've got Sienna Dragonling. So a fairly simple one again. She's just got a few berries and leaves in her hair. And yeah, quite a simple dragon as well, not many scales. Snapdragon Fairy. So we've got snapdragon flowers nestled in, and we've got 2 dragons. And she's got snapdragons in her hair as well. Then we've got Wintry Dragonling. So a lot of background detail on this. This is where I struggle. I don't really know how to colour backgrounds like this, because they're such kind of loose shapes, and I think, do I just cover it in green and do a little bit of definition around the line work and then call it a day? But then it just looks a bit odd. So yeah, I'd like to see how people can do these kind of backgrounds in coloured pencil and make them look like they have form and shape, and you know, you can tell what it is basically in the background. Amber Dragonling. So let's see. So maybe Amber's just her name, because I'm not seeing any amber as in the stone. Look, you've got a little castle and some dragon silhouettes in the background. That's fun. And a little bridge, I think. But maybe I would colour these on her wings as crystallised sort of like amber stone, like you would see on Jurassic Park with a little bug inside. That might be fun. Then we've got Autumn. So again, with that background, yeah, I'm not keen on trying to tackle those kind of backgrounds. We've got pumpkins and stripy tights again, so it's just giving that witchy kind of autumnal Halloween feel. Then we have Blue Willow Dragon Wings. Now this is interesting because look at the detail on each section of the wings. This is a picture, this is an image. I can see a tree and a lake in this one. I am seeing firebirds in this, I think. We've got a dragon on this front plate. These look quite like they will be quite metallic clothes. But there's such tiny little scenes on here. I'm just really interested to see this coloured. I don't know as if I tackle it myself at this point, but yeah, it's such tiny detail. But I can imagine it looking outstanding when it's coloured. And Blue Willow as well, that's like the blue and white plates, isn't it? Am I right? So that colour palette will again look amazing. Bumblebee Dragonling, love this one because I do love my bumblebees. This is really cute. She's in a garden. It's not too bad, this background, because you've got definite tree, sky, tree. And just a bit of this weirdness over here. And then we've got a couple of cherub statues there. That would be good practicing your stone. So, you know, using those warm greys and making a few cracks in them to look like an old stone statue. And yeah, I really like this one. She's got the bee wings. I would use some translucent paints on those, probably KJ designed by Karen, ghost glitters, because they're really nice. They kind of look see-through, but they've got that colour shift to them as well. That's really nice. Then we've got Dragonling Garden 1. So again, she's in a garden. This looks very similar to the other one that we saw with the tree branches making the arch in the background. But again, it's all very loose, sketched detail. So I would probably just try and make that look quite blurred. I wouldn't be taking a lot of time on each individual section here. I'd just be doing a bit of red, a bit of red, a bit of red, a bit of green, slightly darker red on those roses in places, and that will be it. Then we've got Dragonling Garden 3. So again, we have this, it kind of looks a bit like a cave actually. Maybe that's what it is. So you can see the snow falling outside, but you can't see it here. So I believe we're in a cave or in trees that have kind of grown together to create an arch and a little bit of a balcony above her. So we've got a little baby dragon, then we've got a frog, a squirrel, a finch, a deer or a doe, a rabbit, and some other kind of bird. So all the animals on this one. And again, with what I believe is snow falling in the background, it would be nice to have this one as a more of a wintry page. Frost Dragonling. So, wow, okay. I think that this in the background is the Northern Lights. It certainly looks like it, doesn't it? And then we have, do we have any frost? I was just looking for something a little bit like snow. Maybe all of this is snow with a few tufts of grass just sort of poking out of the snow. Again, it totally depends how you want to colour it, but it definitely would lend itself to those kind of wintry, frosty colours. And this will be quite good to colour, this Northern Lights. I have done a tutorial for Northern Lights with paint. Not sure how that would actually work, I think, because I did it with watercolour pencils, actually, that turn into paint. And so you could quite finely, with the pencil, do all of the layers that I showed on that tutorial. I think, I don't know. If you want any links, let me know. I'll pass them on to you. This one's another really detailed one. So we've got 2 ninja dragonlings, which are really fun. So we've got a cute little dragon here. Do we have one? And yeah, is here, look. So we've got 2 dragons on this. It's definitely got that sort of Chinese vibe, you know, with this roof and the sort of, I don't know, it's giving that kind of vibe. This looks like water, I think. This would be really difficult to colour for me. I'd have to look at the reference. I'd have to, just to get an idea of what is going on in some areas of this page. I love the ninjas though. And then we have the Ninja Dragonlings 2. So here they are again. We've got dragons wrapped around their legs. And it's good, I guess, because you don't have to do much face skin tone on these because they've got the ninja masks covering them up. So that's one good thing about these. Everything's good about them. I mean, I'm never going to sit here and say, we've got more ninjas. I'm never going to sit here and say that they're bad illustrations because that is so far from the truth. It's just that I think they definitely appeal to certain colorists and they're quite, how do I put this? Like an acquired taste, maybe. Quite individual taste, Jasmine's work, but absolutely stunning. Here we are again with the ninjas. Any more? No. We have a vampire this time. Vampire dragonling. So we've got skulls, we've got a coffin. This looks really cool, actually. We've got the forest in the background, which is quite defined, so I'll be happy with colouring that. We've got a gravestone and more tombstones in the background. Love this one. Really do. I really like this one. Again, there's not much skin. The dragon's fairly small. Yeah, this is a contender for next Halloween, I think, for what I want to colour in the month of October. Then we have Red Dragon again. Is it the Great Red Dragon? No, it's not. It's just a normal red dragon. But, you know, you can colour him sky blue pink if you want to. She's sat on a grassy tree stump. We do have a bit of background going on, but I think with the referenced image of the original painting, I think this would be quite easy to figure out. Wow, okay, we've got a lot of darker, heavier line work here. Priestess of, wow, okay, Quetzalcoatl, I don't know. But yes, it's definitely got that Aztec vibe, hasn't it? And I think you're definitely going to have to use burnt ochres, yellow ochres, that kind of sandy kind of colours, but then have some jewel tones on all of the little details. Yeah, this will be interesting, and I like she's different. She looks more human-esque, and yeah, this is a good one. I like this one. Oh, and that's the end. So here is the beautiful Jasmine Becket-Griffith. She's a lovely girl. We met her at the Colouring Heaven event in Bath some years ago now. It was before COVID, so I want to say like 2018-19, I think. But yeah, it was a fantastic day. She's lovely. And it was great to actually be able to colour with her. But yes, so fantastic. Here are her previous books. So we do have the original colouring book, the Mermaid's book. Now, where's the Halloween one? Is that not showing on here? I don't think so. Forever, there's my little messing about. Forever Strange, I think that's just, excuse me, I think that's just an art book. We don't have the Halloween one on here. Okay. And then you've got the back cover, which again, it shows you an acrylic painting. Maybe, I think that's one of the paintings that's inside the book, actually. One of the illustrations. And that one as well, possibly. Can't remember now. But there's the back of the book. You've got a few examples on here as well. But like I said, just Google the name of the illustration and you will find the original. So there are 58 pages to colour in this. And the paper is really thick. It's ivory toned. It is, like I said, quite smooth, but you can do coloured pencil on it, as you can see. Yeah, so I just really hope that you've enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think in the comments. I will of course put links in the description to where you can go and buy this. I think you can buy it from the publisher directly, or it should be on Amazon. I'll put the links in the description after I do this video so you can see where you can get it. All right, so thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon on Colour with Claire.